So the Lord our God also delivered into our power King Og of Bashan with all his men, and we dealt them such a blow that no survivor was left.
One element of the Jordan Valley campaign that stands out is its brutality. Again, the Bible describes what happened when these fortified towns were taken. It was often great slaughter, burning, destroying of the towns and flocks and animals. And so you ask yourself, why the need? Why the need for this kind of brutality?
The Israelites don't want to live in the Jordan Valley. They're moving on to Canaan. So, the worst thing they can do from their perspective is to leave a hostile force at their back as they push forward. The only way to make sure this doesn't happen is to wipe out the population. Ruthless, yes, also practical.
Not just the men are slaughtered. Women and children are also killed. But before they march into Canaan, Moses will turn against a people who have been his allies for 40 years. The Midianites, a longtime Israelite ally. These are the people who took Moses in after he killed the Egyptian taskmaster. They are the people who Moses called family. His wife is a Midianite. Now, Moses gives a brutal order. Destroy them.
A couple of Israelite men were sleeping with a couple of Midianite women. That by itself probably wasn't a problem from Yahweh's perspective, but they had now begun to worship Midianite gods, and they had turned their back on Yahweh. So Yahweh orders the children of Midian to be killed and puts Moses in charge of the operation.
Every Israelite soldier, led by a commander named Phinehas, marches to the Midian camp.
They destroy everything. They butcher all the men, burn all the houses, loot anything of value. The only thing Phinehas can't bring himself to do is kill the women and children.
The Midianite camp is completely destroyed, but Phinehas can't bring himself to follow Moses' orders to kill women and children. So he marches them back toward camp.
Before the army even makes it back to camp, Moses rushes out in a fury and yells at Phinehas, "I told you to kill them all." He demands that every boy and every woman old enough to have slept with a man must die right then and there.
They are all executed.
This is all a prelude to the invasion of Canaan, and Canaan will be a tougher nut to crack than the tribal societies of the Jordanian Valley.
Many believe Moses used brutal methods in his long campaign to toughen the Israelites for the invasion of Canaan. But it's an invasion that Moses never gets to be part of.
And we believed it. And we didn't examine the stones. Tell me, how can 600,000 people cross the Nile? They copied, these Western Asian people copied Nile Valley folk stories, personified themselves into the story, and sold you your own story, and you bought it. Now let's go back and deal with where they copied the story from. The 3-volume work published by the University of Chicago on Egyptian literature, dealing with Egyptian literature. And there was a story in the 3 volumes dealing with a pharaoh who got somewhat despondent, and his magician decided to take him rowing on the Nile. And to make him more happy, the boat was being rowed by beautiful ladies. The lead lady stopped rowing and started crying, and the pharaoh was very much concerned with what had happened. And he asked the lead lady what had happened. He said she had dropped her necklace in the Nile. And then the pharaoh told the magician to take care of it. So this magician parted the water, dried up the Nile, stepped out, picked up the lady's necklace, gave it back, water came back, she smiled and kept rowing the boat over. That's when the Jews copied the story about the spoils of the war.